The human brain, often celebrated as the pinnacle of biological complexity, remains one of the greatest mysteries of existence. This delicate, intricate organ surpasses its function as a mere processor, emerging instead as an ever-evolving masterpiece of nature, or perhaps even of the divine. Its dynamic nature is rooted in neuroplasticity, the brain's extraordinary capacity to adapt and reorganize itself. Once believed to stagnate after childhood, science now reveals that the brain continues to grow, evolve, and change throughout our lives. This adaptability, marked by the creation of new neural pathways, is akin to the limitless grace often associated with God, a parallel that transcends both the physical and spiritual realms. Even ancient texts echo this idea of transformation. Romans 12:2 beautifully captures this connection. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Could this act of renewal symbolize the brain's spiritual alignment with divine principles, acting as a sacred vessel to receive higher truths and wisdom? The brain as a bridge between the physical and divine. Throughout history, many have viewed the brain not merely as an organ, but as the seat of the soul, a sacred connection point between our earthly existence and the divine. If, as many spiritual traditions suggest, humanity was created in the image of God, then the brain's capacity to grow, heal, and adapt could be seen as a reflection of God's boundless creativity and mercy. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, opens up possibilities that align with spiritual teachings of redemption, second chances, and transformation. For instance, just as the brain forms new pathways after overcoming trauma, so too do spiritual principles encourage us to rebuild and renew our lives after setbacks, growing stronger in faith and understanding. Could it be that the dynamic nature of our neural pathways allows us to tune into divine frequencies, much like a well-calibrated antenna receiving a clear signal? Spiritual experiences often arise in moments of quiet reflection, prayer, or profound insight. This divine broadcast may not be a metaphor at all. Our brains, ever adaptive, might indeed be designed to decipher such messages when attuned through intentional practices like meditation, gratitude, or contemplation. Ancient scriptures, from the Vedas to the Torah and the Quran, emphasize themes of transformation and renewal. These teachings align seamlessly with what neuroscience reveals, that we are not fixed, unchanging beings, but works in progress, shaped by experiences and choices, continuously moving toward enlightenment. Words, emotions, and neural pathways. Words have immense power, not only to communicate but to shape reality. Throughout history, they've built civilizations, formed ideologies, and ignited revolutions. But beyond their social impact, words also leave a profound imprint on the human brain, creating and reinforcing neural pathways. Consider this. The emotional weight of a kind or cruel word doesn't just influence our mood, it can physically alter the brain's architecture over time. Words spoken with love and compassion activate regions associated with emotional connection, fostering positivity. Conversely, words laced with negativity can cloud our judgment and hinder spiritual growth. Spiritual traditions emphasize this. In John 1:1 we read, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Words are not just communication tools, they are vessels of divine essence, capable of elevating or diminishing our connection to the Creator. This aligns with modern neuroscience. Positive affirmations and expressions of gratitude physically reinforce neural connections, fostering resilience and emotional strength. Meanwhile, harsh language, whether spoken or internalized as negative self-talk, creates patterns of stress and doubt that can distance us from spiritual clarity. Our emotional state further amplifies this connection. The limbic system, often called the emotional brain, is directly influenced by our interactions, environment, and inner thoughts. Emotions such as love, gratitude, and peace act as bridges, opening the mind to divine insights. On the other hand, anger or resentment can close those bridges, leaving us feeling spiritually adrift. To nurture spiritual alignment, both neuroscience and scripture suggest we choose our words and emotions carefully. By speaking with kindness and managing emotional turmoil, we prepare ourselves to receive divine messages more clearly. The laws of cause, effect, and choice. Our lives are shaped by the law of cause and effect, a universal principle acknowledged in both spiritual teachings and neuroscience. Every thought we think, every action we take, and every emotion we nurture creates ripples, not only in the world around us, but within our brains. Neural pathways are constantly strengthened or diminished based on our choices, making each moment an opportunity for transformation. Spiritually, this law serves as a profound reminder of accountability. Scriptures across faiths emphasize that the seeds we sow through kindness, patience, or love bear fruits of peace and blessings, while actions rooted in selfishness or malice lead to spiritual stagnation. Similarly, neuroscience reveals that positive practices like mindfulness and compassion promote cognitive growth, reinforcing mental and emotional well-being. The law of choice is equally compelling. Free will, gifted to humanity by God, empowers us to shape our destiny. Every decision, whether it aligns with divine purpose or strays from it, molds the pathways of our brains and sets us on a particular life trajectory. Spiritually, aligning our choices with principles like honesty, humility, and service to others can deepen our connection to God, illuminating our path with clarity and purpose. On a neural level, these conscious choices strengthen adaptive brain processes, fostering resilience and focus. By consistently choosing behaviors and thoughts that reflect love, gratitude, and self-improvement, we create neural pathways that mirror these divine qualities. The intersection of these spiritual and neuroscientific truths reveals an incredible reality. With each choice, we are sculpting not only our brains but also the spiritual fabric of our lives. Adaptation and spiritual growth. The human brain's capacity for adaptation, known as neuroplasticity, is not just a biological phenomenon. It mirrors the essence of spiritual teachings across cultures. The brain, like the soul, is a work in progress, evolving through life experiences, challenges, and choices. This capacity for growth is a testament to both divine design and the incredible potential within each of us. Neuroscience confirms that our brains adapt based on stimuli, creating new connections when faced with learning, recovery, or transformation. Similarly, spiritual teachings emphasize the importance of renewal. Scriptures often speak of starting anew, letting go of past mistakes, and embracing change as a path to divine wisdom. For instance, Romans 12:2 urges believers to renew their minds, seeking God's will through transformative growth. Adaptation, however, is not automatic. It requires effort. The environment we surround ourselves with, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, plays a vital role. Proverbs advises us to walk with the wise, emphasizing the importance of positive influences, surrounding ourselves with uplifting people, engaging in enriching activities, and practicing mindfulness allows the brain to thrive and creates a fertile ground for spiritual growth. Spiritual growth is much like neural adaptation. Both require enduring challenges, persevering through hardships, and seeking higher understanding. Just as a muscle grows stronger under tension, the brain and soul are refined through trials. These moments of difficulty, though painful, often become catalysts for profound transformation. This journey of adaptation underscores a divine truth. No matter how far we feel from God, the opportunity for growth and connection remains. By consciously choosing paths that nourish our minds and align with higher principles, we embrace the infinite potential to grow closer to our Creator. Neurogenesis and spiritual renewal. Neurogenesis, the process of generating new brain cells, serves as a profound parallel to spiritual renewal. Just as the brain can grow and form new neural pathways, our spirits too have the capacity to be renewed, transformed, and elevated to new levels of understanding. In both neuroscience and spirituality, there's an intrinsic connection to growth and rebirth. In spiritual teachings, the concept of renewal often implies letting go of old patterns, forgiving past mistakes, and striving toward a more enlightened state. The possibility of neurogenesis mirrors this idea. As the brain continues to form new neurons, we have the opportunity to create new spiritual beginnings, free from the limitations of past trauma and negative experiences. Similarly, just as the brain's growth relies on certain practices, like mental exercises, learning, and overcoming obstacles, the spiritual journey toward renewal requires consistent effort, faith, and introspection. Spiritual texts across cultures emphasize the importance of reflection, prayer, meditation, and acts of kindness. These actions not only nourish the spirit, but also mirror the brain's need for positive stimulation to spark neurogenesis. As our brains generate new neural connections through mindful practices, so too can our souls experience rejuvenation through spiritual practices that align us with the divine. When we face challenges or pain, we also create an opportunity for rebirth, whether in the mind or the heart. This cycle of growth, be it neural or spiritual, is an inherent part of being human, showcasing a beautiful synchronicity between the scientific and the sacred. The message here is clear. Whether it is new brain cells being formed in the face of adversity or the spirit undergoing a renewal process through faith, we are never too far from a fresh beginning. Both the mind and the soul can continuously evolve toward a higher state. The power of trials and transformation. Throughout life, both the human brain and the soul face trials that are often perceived as challenges, hardships, or even burdens. These moments of difficulty, whether physical, mental, or emotional, play a pivotal role in personal growth and spiritual development. The brain, like the soul, responds to hardship in ways that ultimately lead to greater resilience and transformation. Just as the brain adapts through neuroplasticity, building new connections in response to experience, spiritual teachings emphasize how trials refine our character and deepen our faith. Life's obstacles, though painful, are often seen as crucibles for transformation. They are opportunities to sharpen the mind, deepen the soul, and reconnect more intimately with the divine. In both scientific and spiritual contexts, stress and struggle stimulate change. The brain, through its neuroplastic abilities, can rewire itself to adapt and overcome adversity, much like a muscle that grows stronger with strain. Similarly, spiritually, enduring difficulty with grace and patience often leads to heightened understanding, compassion, and a deeper connection with God. For instance, the Psalms are replete with reflections on struggles and spiritual growth, emphasizing that through suffering comes divine comfort, wisdom, and a closeness with God. The process of weathering a storm both in the brain and in the spirit reflects a theme found in many religious teachings: the importance of trust, perseverance, and reliance on divine strength during trials. Neuroscientifically, enduring challenges strengthens neural pathways related to resilience and coping strategies. Spiritually, these moments strengthen our faith and reliance on God's will, reminding us that trials serve a greater purpose beyond the immediate hardship. As we face the trials of life, whether they affect the mind, body, or soul, we are presented with a choice: to let the struggle defeat us, or to rise stronger, more connected, and more aligned with our divine path. Just as the brain transforms itself in response to adversity, so too can we. The role of choices and divine guidance. One of the most powerful gifts endowed upon us is the ability to make choices. Every decision, small or significant, shapes not only our immediate circumstances, but also our neural pathways and spiritual growth. From a neuroscience perspective, the act of choosing influences how the brain forms and strengthens neural connections, directing our behavior and cognition. Spiritually, the ability to choose plays a central role in determining our alignment with divine will and purpose. As the Bible tells us, "For I know the plans I have for you," declares the Lord, implying that God's guidance is available for each decision we make. Our choices, when made with divine wisdom and purpose, can guide us towards spiritual fulfillment and personal growth. The brain's capacity to adapt through these choices and align them with a higher purpose is reflected in our continual evolution, both as individuals and in our relationship with God. Every choice to seek wisdom, practice kindness, or seek love in all forms strengthens neural circuits related to compassion and understanding. This mirrors the divine teaching of love and kindness as pathways to God, deepening our connection with the sacred. Neuroscience supports this as well, Practices such as meditation, positive affirmations, and acts of compassion stimulate the brain's reward centers, thereby promoting a sense of peace, fulfillment, and connectedness. Furthermore, our ability to make choices is not just a neurological phenomenon, but a spiritual one. As humans, we are not beholden to fate or preordained paths. Our will and free choices are integral to shaping our lives. Much like God gives us the free will to choose the direction of our spiritual lives, we also choose which pathways to follow, whether those lead toward enlightenment or distractions. In this way, the more we exercise our free will to choose growth, kindness, and alignment with divine teachings, the more our neural pathways strengthen those choices. Each choice reinforces a mindset that fosters spiritual fulfillment and a deepened connection with God. This law of choice shapes the direction of both the mind and the soul, creating a bridge to the divine. Through deliberate choices guided by faith, we allow both our brains and souls to evolve and align with the greater good. These choices become stepping stones that lead us closer to divine wisdom and ultimately contribute to our spiritual and cognitive growth. The divine potential for renewal and growth. As we explore the intersection of the human brain's adaptability and spiritual teachings, we encounter one of the most remarkable aspects of both: the potential for continuous renewal and growth. Neuroscience highlights neurogenesis, the process by which new neurons are created, further contributing to cognitive development. Spiritually, this reflects the concept of renewal and rebirth, often depicted in religious texts as the opportunity to shed past burdens and begin anew. The human brain, throughout life, has the remarkable ability to regenerate itself, offering a sense of hope and endless possibility for personal and cognitive transformation. Similarly, many religious traditions emphasize God's grace and forgiveness, offering the faithful the opportunity to renew their spiritual path, no matter how far they may have strayed. Through repentance, reflection, and divine mercy, individuals are encouraged to let go of past mistakes and step into new spiritual growth. When the brain generates new neurons, it enhances its capacity to adapt and learn. Similarly, spiritually, the soul's connection with God enables growth and evolution. Just as the brain thrives on new experiences, perspectives, and the building of fresh neural pathways, so too does the soul in its relationship with the divine. Each act of spiritual growth is akin to the formation of new connections in the brain, expanding both understanding and empathy. In both neuroscience and spirituality, growth often arises from overcoming adversity. The challenges faced by the brain stimulate adaptation and development, and in the spiritual realm, the trials of life help us to move closer to divine realization. The process of breaking free from past limitations, both neurologically and spiritually, is central to the human experience. God's forgiveness, compassion, and the continuous opportunity for redemption offer the ultimate chance for renewal. The story of the prodigal son is a profound reminder of this truth, that no matter the mistakes made, redemption is always within reach. This aligns beautifully with neurogenesis, symbolizing the idea that no one is ever beyond the chance to restart and rebuild, whether in the brain or the soul. Divine trials and transformative growth. In both neuroscience and spirituality, the experience of trials and challenges is essential for profound transformation. Our brain, when exposed to stressors and challenges, adapts to overcome them, strengthening both neural pathways and emotional resilience. Similarly, spiritual growth often comes through adversity, where struggles act as crucibles, refining and strengthening our faith. Just as the brain can grow through physical stress, such as rigorous exercise or even emotional strain, the spiritual journey involves a similar process. Trials in life, whether emotional, physical, or spiritual, offer opportunities for introspection, growth, and the eventual development of resilience. Spiritual teachings repeatedly highlight how tests and challenges help individuals refine their character, deepen their wisdom, and cultivate a stronger connection with the divine. In moments of hardship, individuals often turn to their faith for guidance, and it is in these moments that God's presence can feel most profound. The analogy is evident in how the brain and spirit respond to adversity. Just as the brain may form stronger, more efficient neural connections through problem solving, practicing resilience, or engaging in tasks requiring effort and attention, the soul is similarly refined in facing trials. It is through overcoming challenges that our internal landscapes, both neurological and spiritual, are transformed. Life's trials are often likened to the refining fire of spiritual practice, purifying impurities and leaving behind strength and wisdom. Just as the body grows and strengthens through intense physical challenges like weight training, the soul, too, is shaped through life's most profound challenges. Even in suffering, the opportunity for spiritual awakening can arise, leading one closer to their higher self and divine understanding. Moreover, neuroscience and spirituality share the belief in post-traumatic growth, the idea that, through struggle, both the brain and the soul can expand. Whether through overcoming trauma, loss, or fear, these difficult moments create new pathways in the brain, both physically and emotionally. Spiritually, they invite deeper trust in divine timing and resilience, guiding individuals to a closer relationship with the sacred. Through faith, prayer, or reflection, individuals allow their spiritual frameworks to adjust to these challenges. In doing so, they align themselves more closely with the teachings that encourage patience, understanding, and ultimately, growth from the very places of darkness and struggle. The interplay between mind, body, and soul. The journey of spiritual and neural growth transcends individual components, fusing the mind, body, and soul into a singular transformative experience. Just as neuroplasticity requires the mind to be in alignment with external experiences, spiritual growth requires the harmony between the heart, mind, and soul to align with divine will. This interwoven dynamic illustrates the depth of both our cognitive abilities and our spiritual evolution. On a neurological level, our body and brain are in constant communication. The sensations of fear, joy, sorrow, and peace that we feel on a physical level manifest as chemical changes in the brain, altering how we perceive and respond to the world. Similarly, spiritual principles also advocate for a harmonious balance. For instance, in moments of peace, the body is more likely to be in a state of health, the mind more focused, and the soul closer to divine insight. Just as the brain thrives in positive, healthy environments, so too does the soul grow when nurtured by virtues such as love, compassion, and gratitude. One of the more fascinating intersections between neuroscience and spirituality lies in the concept of intentional living. The choices we make, whether in the foods we consume, the environments we inhabit, or the thoughts we cultivate, directly influence both our neurological health and our spiritual state. Neuroscientifically, positive habits such as exercising, engaging in creative pursuits, and practicing mindfulness directly affect brain functions, promoting neural growth and healing. Spiritually, when we intentionally live in alignment with divine principles, seeking truth, living with compassion, and embodying patience, we align ourselves more closely with God's will and deepen our spiritual insight. Emotional regulation also plays a critical role in this interconnected dynamic. When we experience emotions, they are processed by the brain's limbic system. It's in this space that both spiritual teachings and modern neuroscience offer wisdom. By recognizing the importance of controlling and transforming our emotions, we actively engage in both our neurological and spiritual evolution. Just as chronic stress can shrink the brain's hippocampus, limiting our ability to learn and grow, excessive negative emotions can hinder spiritual growth and divine communication. Through mindfulness, meditation, and conscious effort to regulate emotional responses, we create space in our hearts and minds to be receptive to God's messages. By reducing internal turmoil and aligning our intentions, we free ourselves to embrace the clarity and insights that await. The ancient concept of holistic health perfectly reflects this interrelationship between mind, body, and soul. Our personal well-being cannot solely depend on one aspect of our being. True growth requires the nurturing of all three parts in unison. Neuroscientific findings and spiritual teachings both encourage the balanced cultivation of these elements. Body, mind, and soul are not separate entities, but are in a continuous loop of interaction, with each influencing and shaping the others. It's through this balanced interconnection that profound transformation takes place. Divine guidance through neuroscience and spirituality. As we continue to explore the symbiotic relationship between spiritual principles and neuroscience, it's essential to delve into the role of intuition. Neuroscience and spirituality both agree that human beings are capable of receiving information beyond the physical senses. Intuition, often referred to as gut feelings or divine insight, is an internal knowing that transcends logical reasoning and scientific explanation. The human brain is wired to detect patterns, and while science often interprets this ability as cognitive processing, spirituality views this as a method through which divine guidance may be communicated. The brain's default mode network, activated during times of rest and reflection, has been linked to intuitive thinking. It's in these moments of stillness that the soul, unclouded by external distractions, may connect with a higher source of wisdom. In moments of deep contemplation or prayer, when we are attuned to the divine presence, our brain waves enter into a state of relaxation that may allow intuitive insight to emerge. Interestingly, spiritual teachings across various faiths have long stressed the importance of silence, reflection, and openness to God's whisper. Neuroscientifically, this parallels the increased activity in the brain's resting state, suggesting that what we call divine intuition could very well be our minds attuning to a higher frequency. Many ancient texts have highlighted the importance of mindfulness, meditation, and stillness in spiritual practices. When we slow our mental processes, both the brain and soul are better able to absorb spiritual wisdom. Studies show that activities such as meditation can trigger the release of neurochemicals like dopamine and serotonin, contributing to a sense of peace and alignment with divine will. By integrating these practices into our daily lives, we cultivate the environment needed for heightened spiritual sensitivity. This inner stillness not only sharpens our connection with the divine, but also primes the brain for self-awareness and empathy. Spiritual practices that emphasize compassionate living, caring for others, practicing humility, and offering forgiveness are neurologically beneficial, helping to foster stronger neural connections in areas related to emotion and compassion. Research in neuroscience reveals the brain's remarkable ability to create new neural pathways and heal through mindfulness, emotional regulation, and conscious choice. Spiritually, this healing is akin to the act of redemption, shedding past trauma, sin, or negative influences in order to start anew. As the brain heals from emotional scars, the soul experiences the same rejuvenation. This neuroplasticity reveals not just the brain's capacity to heal and grow, but the divine potential for spiritual renewal and divine alignment. Just as a radio can tune into various frequencies, the human brain, through practices like prayer, meditation, and compassionate living, has the potential to tune into divine messages. This highlights a crucial point. To receive divine guidance, we must first calibrate our minds and souls to be receptive. Life's distractions often cause us to lose this focus, but with conscious effort and spiritual discipline, both our minds and our spirits can become finely attuned to higher wisdom. Tuning the mind for divine guidance. One of the most important realizations in understanding the connection between neuroscience and spirituality is the concept of the power of choice. Our decisions, both big and small, shape our neural pathways and impact our spiritual evolution. Every thought, word, or action sets into motion a series of neurological responses, impacting the way we perceive the world and our place within it. This principle is echoed in many spiritual teachings, emphasizing the importance of free will and conscious decision-making. In essence, the choices we make reflect the way our minds have been programmed. Through prayer, reflection, and spiritual practice, we create new pathways, both mental and spiritual, that align us more closely with our higher purpose. The sacred texts highlight that through each choice, we are either moving closer to divine alignment or diverging from it. In neuroscience, this is often referred to as neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire our brain based on the choices and behaviors we consistently nurture. In this light, the power to choose is not just a personal privilege, but a divine gift. As the brain continues to evolve through new experiences, we gain the ability to better choose paths that are aligned with our deeper values and purpose. Spiritual wisdom, then, can be seen as a framework for understanding how to best navigate these choices, enabling us to consciously mold our lives in alignment with divine will. This process isn't instantaneous. Just as it takes time to rewire the brain physically, the spiritual journey also requires patience and persistence. We might face setbacks, be tempted by distractions, or falter in our commitment, but each decision to act from a place of compassion, wisdom, and faith is an opportunity to strengthen our mental and spiritual connection. The role of challenges in spiritual and neuroplastic growth. Another critical aspect that intertwines neuroscience and spirituality is the way we handle challenges. The brain's ability to adapt in response to stress or adversity, much like our spiritual resilience, is essential in both personal growth and the realization of divine potential. Every person faces moments of hardship, but rather than view these moments solely as struggles, we can see them as opportunities for growth. Both neuroscientifically and spiritually, hardship encourages adaptation. Neural connections strengthen as we face challenges, reprogramming the brain's responses to stress and emotional difficulty. Likewise, in the spiritual realm, trials and tribulations are often seen as moments of purification or refinement. These are the moments when faith is tested, but they also allow us to grow stronger in our conviction, attuning ourselves more closely to God's grace. When faced with adversity, we are also provided the opportunity to reflect and make better choices moving forward. With each challenge, both the brain and spirit have the capacity to heal and flourish, creating a cycle of continuous growth that brings us closer to our divine calling. Spiritual practices teach us the value of facing adversity with faith and resilience. Trusting that every challenge serves a higher purpose prepares us to grow, not only spiritually, but cognitively. The ability to rise above obstacles and adapt, both in mind and spirit, becomes a defining characteristic of the enlightened individual. Bringing it together. A life transformed. In conclusion, the integration of neuroscience and spirituality offers profound insights into how we evolve mentally and spiritually. Our thoughts and behaviors shape both our brain's neural landscape and our spiritual connection to the divine. Practices like mindfulness, meditation, and prayer are tools that allow us to strengthen the bridge between science and faith, opening the mind and soul to higher realms of understanding. The human brain, in all its complexity, serves as the ultimate receiver for divine messages. When properly tuned through conscious choice and spiritual discipline, we are not just absorbing information, we are receiving higher wisdom that can transform our lives. In the pursuit of both cognitive and spiritual excellence, we move closer to understanding the divine. The journey is not just one of mental development, but one of profound spiritual evolution. This blending of science and spirituality demonstrates that there is no separation between the two. The path to truth and enlightenment is a holistic one, embracing both our intellectual abilities and our divine connection. To truly connect with the divine, we must nurture our brain and spirit simultaneously, aligning both with purpose and grace. Through understanding the brain's neuroplasticity and the teachings of faith, we become capable of growing, learning, and evolving in ways that transcend both the mental and the spiritual. The true wisdom we seek is already within us, waiting to be unlocked, if we choose to tune in.